Hey there, it's Kat and this is Brews and Reviews. Okay, so does anyone remember the song and the game Dumb Ways to Die? Like, it used to be a big thing, the little cartoon characters that die in stupid ways and you have to save them. Well, for some reason that song got stuck in my head the other day and I was like, well, make it books, as is becoming a theme on this channel. So in the game Dumb Ways to Die, there are 21 ways in which these characters die. And I kind of thought, well, I'll pick 10 of those characters and then I'll find book characters that could also die like that, or would be likely to die like that. Honestly, this idea is just really dumb, and just please bear with me because I just wanted to do it, so here we are. Actually, wait, before we get into this video, I would just like to say that there are probably going to be spoilers for certain things that happen to certain characters, so I'm going to give you a list of all the books I'm going to talk about in the description below, and if you haven't read any of them or are worried about spoilers for any of them, then just check that out before you watch the rest of the video. So the first character is Numpty, who had his brain melted after setting his hair on fire. So for this character I picked Aelin from Heir of Fire onwards. Obviously in this book we discover that Aelin has a power that involves fire and sometimes being a big ball of fire occasionally. I feel like she could accidentally set her hair on fire and inadvertently melt her brain. It could happen, like, it could happen. Probably not though. The next character is Hapless, who gets their head bitten off by a grizzly bear. Now tell me you didn't just think of Emmett from the Twilight saga, because he literally dies by being killed by a grizzly bear. It was perfect. The perfect choice. Character number 3 is Pillock, who develops an allergic reaction to expired medication and dies. So for this one I picked Dorrit from The Unit by Nini Holmquist. So the plot of this book involves characters who, once they reach a certain age, go and live in the unit where they are experimented on and given different types of medication and different things like that. So I feel like it's extremely likely that they might try and test out expired medication to see what the causes are, and then she might die from that. Yeah, that one's kind of depressing. Actually, I really hope this whole video isn't depressing. It's supposed to be fun, so have a strange dance. Maybe that made it more fun. The next character is Dippy, who dies from having his butt bitten off by piranhas. Okay, so this one is a little bit of a stretch, but hear me out. I picked Ronan from the Raven Cycle. Sometimes Ronan dreams things into existence that he doesn't mean to dream into existence, like his nightmares, and what if he happened to dream that a pool was full of piranhas and then he fell in it? He could die that way. It could happen, maybe, at some point, maybe, probably not. The next character is Dummkopf, who disintegrates into a skeleton by being electrocuted because he stuck a fork into a toaster. Now, the only character I could think would do that is probably Severo from Red Rising, because he might think that he could survive it. He'd just be like, yeah, fuck it, fork, toaster. Don't do that. Don't do any of these things, by the way. This is really dumb ways that people have actually died, so, like, don't do any of these things. But this character might, so, you know. The next character is Dimwit, who burns to death in a house fire. This isn't a particularly dumb way to die, really, because, like, house fires could be accidental, but, like, besides the point, I feel like Wade from Ready Player One could burn to death in a house fire because he'd be too busy inside the Oasis in VR, and he wouldn't notice that the house is literally on fire. Next up we have Stoop, who gets decapitated in a plane crash. Despite how many science fiction books I read, this was weirdly hard to think of a character that flies a plane at any point in time, and I ended up going with Ezra from the Illuminae files. He does fly planes. It could happen to him. Realistically, in the things that he does in here, it could actually happen to him. So, yeah. Next up we have Lax, who vomits to death from food poisoning after eating unrefrigerated pie. So my initial answer for this one is Tony Chu from Chu, because it is his job to eat things that have been left out. Not necessarily pie, but, you know, someone might be like, ah, that pie is evidence, so you should eat that pie, and then he eats the pie and dies. It could happen. I mean, he's eaten worse things, much worse things. My alternate answer for this one is Leo Valdez from the Heroes of Olympus series. I don't know why, I just feel like he might be like, ooh, pie, and then eat it, and then die. Oh, Leo. Next up we have Unseen Victim, who was murdered by Claude, which is the game's version of a serial killer in a Jason mask. So for this one I picked Alex from Akarnae, and the simple fact is that she meets some dangerous people and doesn't realise they're dangerous. There are like alarm bells ringing in the head of everybody reading the thing that she is reading, and she's just like, oh yeah, I believe you. Random stranger who is saying things that are totally not true. I believe you. So, yeah, she's getting murdered by a serial killer. I could just... somebody could convince her to get in the van. I have no doubt about that. Yeah. And the last character that I'm going to be talking about today is Doomed. And they get beaten to death by a drug dealer. Okay, so for this one I went with Javel from the Queen of the Tearling series. He is a guy that loses his wife to this slavery lottery thing that happens, and then he drinks a lot. He basically just goes to the pub and drinks away his days. And he has a big addiction problem, so it would not be out of the realms of possibility for this guy to be like, drugs, yeah, and then end up in a raw deal with the drug dealer and get beaten to death. I could see it happening. So that was a dumb way to film a booktube video. It's a silly game, a silly song, and now a silly video. If you'd like to see me find book characters that might die in the same way as the other 11 characters in Dumb Ways to Die, then let me know, and I will try and do that video for you guys if you want to see that. This was a stupid video, and I am sorry. But if you like this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, leave me an emoji, any emoji, if you don't have the spoons to write any other comments. That would be awesome. Yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!